Welcome back, gamers. Let's review some Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a 4 vs 1 multiplayer survival horror game where essentially the gameplay revolves around cat and mouse, similar to Evolve. Except the mice doesn't really have a way to fight back except to escape by turning on power generators in the game. And of course, the killer's role is to kill the survivors any way possible so that he earns the most points. The best thing about this game is definitely the atmosphere of the game, whether you're playing the survivors or you're playing the killer. As a survivor, you'll be playing the game at third person. Unfortunately, it's not first person, and it makes a lot of sense for the game design because you have to look at your surrounding and see indications of when the killer's around. There's also a heartbeat indicator. When you hear the meter go off, it scares the heck out of you because you know the serial killer is nearby. Now, in terms of the sounds in the game, the sounds is great, the eerie music that plays at a certain time, and of course the graphic is just decent. As Survivor, the gameplay revolves around turning on generators. Gameplay. Now, the generators themselves aren't so quite easy. You hold the left mouse button and then you have to watch out for a dial that appears and you have to hit the spacebar in the zone. There's also a white tiny zone that gives you more points and also gives you more progression if you hit it. So the hard part is keeping an eye on your surrounding while also keeping an eye on these dials. The dials also appear when healing your team members. Failure to hit the dial in the zone will alert the killer. And then after getting the required generators up and running, you open the gate and then escape. There are also random chests around the map to help you out, giving you aid kit, flashlight, or even a toolbox. As for getting away from the killer, you can juke killers, you can run through windows, hide in closet, and there are certain paths with obstacles that you can throw down in the way. And if all else fails, you just gotta line of sight them using a tree or go in the tall grasses that are littered throughout the map. As the killer, depending on who you play, you are armed with your special ability. One of the killers can go invisible, the other one can lay traps, and the other one uses a chainsaw. Now, as the killer, when you hit a survivor once, they start bleeding, you'll be able to track them, and if you hit them twice, they'll go down. All you have to do is pick them up and put them up on a hook, or put them down on the ground, let them bleed to death, and watch out for their friends to save them. And of course, all is not lost for the survivor, because all he can do is wiggle around while he's on the killer's shoulders. The other thing is having another friend shine a flashlight in the killer's eyes to drop the survivor, and if he gets hooked up, another survivor has to save you, or you can actually attempt to break out. And that's pretty much how the game plays out. Now, the other thing is once you finish a mission as a killer or a survivor, you get blood points, and you can actually use these blood points to invest in the tree. You can invest in add-ons, you can invest in items, and also tokens you can burn to get buffs out of, and perks. Now, the thing about this is that you can only use one perk until you are level 15, and so on. By the end of level 25, you'll be able to use all 4 perks. There are different choices of perks that you'll get, and different upgrades. I'm not sure how rank 25 plays out yet because I'm not there, but the killers have their own perks, and the survivors have their own perks. Once you reach 25, it'll be pretty crazy. Now we move on to the cons of the game. Unfortunately, this game does have quite a bit of cons. One of the first few cons are being addressed right now, such as rebindable keys, they're fixing it. The lobby problems, the multiplayer lobby problems, they're fixing that also. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about how you can join a game and then all of a sudden nobody else joins the game because everyone's leaving for their friend's game or trying to. Friends games are having issues. You can't really join up with your friends. The real issue right now is that it has to have all the players in order to start a game. So that's a big issue right now they're fixing. With every new game, there's going to be bugs and collision problems, etc. that they're ironing out right now, I hope. The other cons are that the map varieties isn't so different from each other, because if you look at all the map, they are pretty much the same. The only thing that changes is the settings, but I'm not complaining too much because it's a $16 game. The game doesn't have any type of communication during gameplay. Now, that is because it is part of the gameplay. They don't want people to communicate with each other. It would have been nice if they added some sort of proximity talk with each other so that it alerts the killer at the same time and people can actually communicate, but unfortunately it's not in the game. Of course, the other con I noticed about the game after playing Survivor and Killer is that the game needs a bit of balance and tweaks, especially in terms of ranks facing each other. Now, if you're facing a level 25 rank, imagine all your entire team, you have a few people that are low level, what's going to happen? You're going to get outdone by the higher level. Because pretty much he's going to have 4 perks in play, and while your teammates only have 1 perk, maybe even no perk and no items at all, you're pretty much screwed. And I'm unsure if this is a con or not, but this is hugely discussed on the forums. It might even change at level 25 gameplay, and that is encountering killers that camp the hook. You can say stuff like it's a trade-off, you can turn on generators. The other thing is if you work together, you can get someone off. This all works if killer is stupid, because if a stupid killer sees other characters, they'll take their eyes off the hook, but a really good killer will keep his eyes on the hook the entire time and camp it until that person is dead. If you try to go for it, you're probably going to get hit or grabbed by this killer, and that's another person down or another person hurt. You know, if you think about it, it's going to be like that in the higher end plays where people just grab you, put you on a hook, and then just watch you the entire time as you die until there's only 3 players. In these type of situations, it can be infuriating because it also causes a domino effect to other players. When people start seeing campers at the hook, now players and teams are starting to learn that let's ignore the person on the hook in general. Let's not even save them. And you'll start noticing that people will do this in most of the games, which I've encountered in many games so far where the other team members won't help you anymore because they know that the killer's camping the hook and the killer's probably really good. Eventually what's going to happen is nobody's going to help each other off the hook. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it balances out. Maybe it gets balanced out in level 25 or rank 25, but other than that, it's a shitty luck kind of thing. You know, if it happens to you, you die, you move on to the next game. That's all you can do for now. Now here's one of many gameplay where the other players will completely ignore the player on the hook, even though the killer is not around. The reason being, they think you're being camped. And this is not just the only game I've seen where people are doing this. This is one of many. That's the same guy I risked my life to save earlier, and look what he gives me. Oh man. Unfortunately, that's going to be many of the games you'll see soon, because people are just going to ignore other people, since they think that the serial killer is always camping all the hooks. Oh well. Anyways, for $16, it's a really fun game. I can't give this game a negative score based on some of the cons. I was on borderline of it, but I think it's worth the price if they fix everything up. So buy at your own discretion and see what they're going to do to the game. I have high hopes that this game is going to pick up. They're going to do a lot to it and make it a lot more fun and fair for everyone. So hopefully we'll see a lot more to this game because it is a really fun concept. That's pretty much my review of Dead by Daylight. So thanks for watching, guys, and game on.